won't we bring him on up here and put him on the air? And he said, all right, we can do that. Old Riley B. King became known as the Beale Street Blues Boy. Then they shortened it down to just Blues Boy. And they finally shortened that down to B.B. King, y'all. Got to start right over there in 1948 on the radio. He wasn't playing blues, man. He was right there on the radio being a disc jockey. So good that did not work out for him, man. Now we have the king of the blues. Let me do one thing here. Let me see here. Let me adjust one thing. Let me put this right here. Check, 1, 2. That sounds a little better. That sounds... I did something right, this guy's now going to take a picture of me. Not only a video, now a picture. All right, where are you from? You said Detroit.
Yep.
Well, good to have you here, man. Now, you say you're folks from England. Where are you from, ma'am? Alabama. Well, good to have you, man, right here in Memphis, Tennessee. We're going to do this right here. I think I know the real reason why Elvis did not dance at his prom. The music before Elvis was not that good, guys. You know what the #1 song was in the United States in May of 1953? This is going to blow your mind. It was held by Patti Page. It's called How Much Is That Doggy? You wonder why Elvis wasn't dancing at the prom. I mean, how do you even make out to that song? Let alone try to dance to it. But they waited a year later, man, right back here on WDIA. They were playing the very first rhythm and blues.
You made it. This is the room that changed music history for the rest of the world. We still record here 4 and 5 times a week at night, so we're still making history, which is pretty awesome. So we have one major rule down here, and it's a little tough, but I think you guys can handle it. And all it is just please do not handle our instruments. We use them at night for sessions. But you guys are welcome to turn your flashes on. You're welcome to use video. You're welcome to make yourselves at home and have a seat if you like as well. If everyone can take a couple of steps towards me, I want to make sure everyone fits in the studio. No one's stuck in Marion's office. All right, so the building itself was built in the early 1900s. Initially, it was set up as a bakery. After the Great Depression happened, the building, the bakery went under, and it was divided up into 3 addresses. So teenagers went absolutely crazy for this. They play it 14 times in a 3-hour show, and the next day Elvis Presley is signed to a 3-year contract with Sun Records. Everyone's excited about it, but it only lasts for a little while, about a year and a half. Elvis does 5 singles while he's here, 10 songs total, and soon after that, Sam sells this contract to RCA. We're going to pick up that story in just a little while, but before we do, we're going to listen to the last recording that Elvis made while he was here. You're going to notice some interesting things about it. Elvis will mess up the song, and the reason that he does is another Sun artist, Carl Perkins, pops his head through that window over there, starts making faces at Elvis Presley, and he loses track of what he's doing. The other thing you're going to hear in here that's very special is Sam giving direction over the session, telling all the boys to stop making it so complicated. The song is called When It Rains, It Really Pours, October of 1955.
What happened?
One more time now. I don't make it too damn complicated.
You know, you have to start out.
All right, I was talking, you know, you got to maybe we'll get something. You just don't get too close on that mic to do. We've got us all. That's everything I can do.
I don't know what we're going to do, Carl Perkins.
In his first hit, and after that, he was the most consistent hit maker for Sun Records, recording a lot of material while here. Songs such as Big River, Get Rhythm, Folsom Prison, and of course his largest hit for Sun Records, which you guys know, is called I Walk the Line. Alright, that brings us to the most famous photograph in rock and roll history. It's this one here. Story behind this is the man in the very center holding the guitar is Carl Perkins. Now, some people think that's Bruce Springsteen, but that's definitely not the correct decade. And the boss isn't recorded here yet. But there's still time, I'm sure. But Carl did. He was working on his follow-up to Blue Suede Shoes with a song called Matchbox. To his left, you're going to see Jerry Lee Lewis. Jerry had just recorded his very first single for Sun Records, and he hadn't been discovered yet, hadn't even been released. So he was in the studio working on Carl's recording as a session musician, making just $12 a day.
Cafe is now. That's where the original Mr. Lansky's was. That's where Elvis walked in. Jerry Lee Lewis, Johnny Cash, B.B. King, Rufus Thomas, all the big names in Memphis bought their clothes from Mr. Lansky's, guys. Now, he put that pink shirt on Elvis for the very first time. And Johnny Cash wore what? Black. Guess who put that black suit on him? For the very, Mr. Lansky, guys. He is the clothier to the king. And if you walk in there today, you won't find Mr. Lansky. He actually passed away about a year ago, but his son Hal runs the business. And let me tell you, if you walk in there, you tell him I sent you, you say Brandon Cunning sent me, you know what he'll do? He'll charge you 10% more. Now, it's true. It's true. Now, as we pull off from here, of Elvis being down on Beale Street, right, in the early days. Elvis was not down on Beale Street. Memphis was segregated, guys. Just the white teenagers did not hang out on Beale Street where the clubs would have been. But Elvis would come back here to the gospel shows. Who else was going here? Jerry Lee Lewis would go to those gospel shows. Johnny Cash, guess what? He went to Sun Studio. Guess what he wanted to be? Not a country singer. He wanted to be a gospel singer. That's what he wanted to be. Even B.B. King, when he started out in Indianola, Mississippi, guess what he was singing? Gospel music, guys. So it always comes back to gospel music with the big three here from Memphis, Tennessee. So what I want to do is we play some hymnals. Yes, ma'am.
You didn't say it, but I'm going to tell you. Elvis had his high school graduation.
That's right. Elvis Presley back at Ellis Auditorium had his high school graduation and performed there twice. She's fact-checking me. Uh-oh. She's got Google out. She's like, I don't believe a word this guy's saying, man. No, I'm just playing with you. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, but he did have his high school graduation. It's good. Also, guess what happened back there at Ellis Auditorium? Just to bring up another weird fact. You all know what wrestling is? Not wrestling. Wrestling is actually a actual sport, but wrestling is grown men in spandex with permed hair. Wrestling. You all know what I mean? Wrestling?
WrestleMania.
Yes, there you go. Guess what? That's where wrestling was born in Memphis, Tennessee. It was right back there at Ellis Auditorium back in the 1950s and 60s. We had a guy here. We have actually three kings in Memphis. We have Elvis, B.B. King, another guy called Jerry Lawler. I don't know if anyone knows who's Jerry Lawler, but he's known as the King. He was a big wrestler from Memphis, Tennessee, and they call him the King, too. So, yeah, that one. Shirt, black slacks, pink stripe, white shoes. He comes out on the stage. Remember, it's called the Hillbilly Hoedown. These women have been listening to Elvis now for weeks on the radio. They don't know what he's going to look like. They know he's going to be good looking when they see him. Guess what? He comes out on that stage. Those women look up at Elvis for the very first time. They get that first glimpse. They said, that's the biggest pervert we've ever seen, man. Start to roll. Because nobody looked like Elvis back then. You got to think about it. What are most guys wearing? They had crew cuts on, guys. The guys definitely in 1954 were not wearing pink. Trust me, that was not a pink, was not a color the guys were wearing. So here's Elvis. He comes out. He's got this big hair. He's got it all slicked back, and he gets ready to sing. These women are looking up at him. And one other thing they noticed: this guy had on makeup and mascara. They said, "What is this guy, man?" And then found out why did Elvis have that on? He was a huge Tony Curtis fan at the time. Tony Curtis always had makeup and mascara when he went out in public. in case a newspaper or whatever would take a picture of him. So Elvis, guess what, was copying Tony Curtis. So, but I'm pretty sure he looked like Adam Lambert that day. Kids in Memphis went crazy over this song. He ended up playing it 15 times in a row that night because these kids have not heard anything like Elvis Presley on the radio. So he just keeps playing this record over and over and over and over and over and over again. So he calls up Sam. He says, look, get Elvis out there. Why is everybody yelling at me? He says, son, look, I don't know if they like you or hate you, but you're going to go back out there and do it again. So what does Elvis do? He goes back out and he does an encore. He does 2 more songs that day. The same 2 songs. Blue Moon of Kentucky and That's Alright Mama. Because why? The band's been together 3 weeks, 1 record, 2 songs is all they knew, man. That's all they knew. Even Johnny Cash says, look, the first time I saw Elvis Presley in Memphis, Tennessee was on the back of an old flatbed truck. For 20 minutes, all those boys did was play 2 songs over and over again. That's all they did. So that's all we needed back then. Just 2 songs. You could have a career, man. Look at all those guys back then. Elvis had more than 2 songs, though.
Peobody Ducks.